I often wanted to do a little thing on graphology, handwriting analysis, and I just want to do some of the basics. I taught a class about graphology, handwriting analysis at Rowan, and I was surprised how many people were really interested in it. And this, of course, is an age where very few people print or write, and everything's done through texting and the computer. And writing is almost becoming passe in a way. Even greeting cards are electronic and is a electronic mail. But the basic handwriting is very interesting. And with a few basic principles, one could look at handwriting and tell where somebody's mind is at. Now, if you look at this T here, where I have the ruler, that shows very high self-esteem because the bar crosses at the top. And the one next to it would be considered, high self-esteem. And then the one next to it, about the middle or the upper part of the middle, would be considered average. And then you get into low self-esteem. And then you get into somebody that's angry because it's almost like they're cutting it towards the ground. In other words, there's some anger involved there. Now, when you look at the T, it doesn't start behind the vertical line, but it starts to the right. The person's in a rush. They're very impatient. They're in a hurry, and they don't even want to start the line. When the line starts to the left and doesn't complete, there's no follow-through in their mind. They'll start something but not finish it. When you see a start way to the left and to the right, the person has an even start and stop or start and go. When the line goes from low to high, they're feeling very energetic. With the I, when they kind of like have a little circle over it, they have high self-esteem. It's almost like the I represents the self, and they have high self-esteem. A little dot above the vertical line is even self-esteem, and no dot means that somebody doesn't really know where they stand. The first letter of a name or a word and the spacing between the first letter and the remaining letters is how much space somebody needs. The distance between the start and the rest of the letters is very indicative of the way they think. Some people need more space. There's what they call crowded writing. Like the word time here, there's a big space between the T and the I, where right here it's very close. The person is trying to get to be close to people. If we look at the slant of a word, whether it slants to the left or the right, a left-handed slant of the letters is somebody that generally lives in the past and they're very conservative. They tend to think almost backwards. They're trying to hold on to the past, and they'd rather be more they're conservative in their thinking and their attitudes, and they don't like people to take too good of a look at them. They just want to just be in the background somewhere. When you see a very neutral slant to their writing, we're not talking about a straight line, but basically the writing is kind of just straight up and down. The person lives in the now and in the moment. They just have an even way of looking at it. And when you see the slant to the right, the person's extroverted and they live in the future. Now, the introverted backwards handwriting, the person basically says, don't come too close to me. You might not like what you see, and I don't want to have to deal with somebody's opinion of me. When you see a downward handwriting, like it starts high to the left and goes down, the person's either tired or are feeling very low. And when you look at the margins in a word, the margins, like the person starts to the left and they're constantly trying to go more to the right, they're trying to economize. and they're very aware that they're wasting space and wasting time. Now, name analysis and the letters and the planets that evaluated, I found, along with graphology, handwriting analysis, is very beneficial. And it would pay for people to really take a look at what I have to say on name analysis, as well as the planets associated with the letters. About 40 years ago, I spoke to the lady that wrote the original book on name analysis, at least the one that I knew about, and I sessioned with her and bought her book. And since then, I've redone most things on it, but her work was a good basic book, and I found that it at least gave me a start. I changed a lot of the ideas through personal experience. And I'm a real believer that when you know the letters of the alphabet and how it relates to the planets and how certain letters cause certain attitudes, and you bring it along with this handwriting evaluation and the slants and the I's and the T's and so forth, and you know what they mean. It's very, very significant.